The gentle lapping of waves softly caressed the side of the boat. The last crescent moon of the night descended upon the tranquil surface of Lake Lugano, yielding to the first streaks of orange and pink of dawn. On the luxurious yacht, Serenity, a small figure lay motionless, her long black hair fanned out on the elegant teak deck. She was Isabella Rossi, the world's top underground IT expert, and also the eldest daughter trained to inherit the illustrious Rossi family. Last night was supposed to be a joyous occasion. Her engagement party to Alessandro Moretti, heir to the Moretti financial conglomerate, had taken place on this very yacht. Everything was perfectly arranged. Fine wine, melodious music, sweet congratulations. But beneath that dazzling facade, a sinister plot was unfolding. Isabella's paternal half-sister, Beatrice, with seemingly innocent emerald eyes that concealed envy and ambition, had colluded with Alessandro. They wanted to eliminate Isabella, seize the family fortune, and claim the position she rightfully deserved. The champagne, laced with sedatives, slowly plunged Isabella into a coma. She vaguely heard Beatrice's muffled giggles and Alessandro's chilling whisper, "Farewell, Isabella. Now, everything will be ours." Then came a forceful push, and her body fell freely into the icy cold waters of the lake. Beneath the murky water, Isabella struggled to flail, but the drug had taken too deep a hold. Her body heavy, the cold water embraced her, pulling her deeper and deeper. Everything gradually blurred. Memories of her family, of years of diligent study, of unfulfilled plans, flashed by like a slow-motion film. She thought this was the end, but fate seemed to have a different plan. Far away, a small fishing boat slowly glided across the lake. On board was Liam O'Connell, a reclusive Irish billionaire, enjoying his night fishing. Beside him was Buddy, a large Newfoundland dog with glossy black fur and intelligent eyes. Buddy suddenly barked ferociously, an unusual, warning bark. Liam, accustomed to Buddy's peculiar behaviors, looked up. "What's wrong, Buddy?" he asked. But the dog continued to bark and growl, his eyes fixed on a spot on the lake. Liam squinted, following his gaze. Under the fading moonlight, he saw a dim shadow. At first, he thought it was a piece of drifting wood, but then he realized it was a person. Without hesitation, Liam steered his boat closer. When he pulled Isabella onto the boat, she was unconscious. Her body was ice cold, her lips blue. Buddy, with the instinct of a loyal friend, gently licked Isabella's face. As if to wake her, Liam quickly covered her with a blanket and checked her pulse. It was weak, but still beating. "Thank heavens," Liam sighed in relief. He quickly contacted his private medical team and steered the boat back to his lakeside villa, an ancient architectural marvel nestled among lush green trees and fields of purple lavender. When Isabella awoke, she found herself lying on a soft bed in a warm room filled with the faint scent of herbs. Gentle morning sunlight streamed through large windows, illuminating landscape paintings on the walls and tall bookshelves filled with books. Her head still ached, and the memories of last night flooded back like a nightmare. She startled upright, trying to collect herself. "Where am I?" she murmured. The bedroom door opened, and a man walked in. It was Liam. He had slightly tousled chestnut-brown hair, deep blue eyes, and a gentle smile. He held a hot cup of tea in his hand, its soothing aroma filling the room. "Good morning," Liam said in a warm, deep voice. "Are you okay? You were very lucky." Isabella looked at him with caution. "Who are you? What happened?" Liam placed the teacup on the bedside table and recounted everything. From Buddy discovering her to bringing her back here, he didn't ask much about the reason for her misfortune, simply acting as a stranger, helping someone in distress. His calmness and kindness made Isabella feel a little reassured. "I'm Isabella," she said, her throat dry. "Liam," he replied, extending his hand. His hand was warm and strong. In the following days, Isabella slowly recovered under the attentive care of Liam and his medical team. She discovered that Liam was not only a billionaire, but also a profound individual, a lover of nature with an artistic soul. He spent much of his time fishing, reading, and tending to his vast garden. His villa was not as lavishly luxurious as what she was accustomed to, but possessed a simple, cozy beauty, filled with light and the fragrance of flowers. Buddy, the Newfoundland dog, became Isabella's indispensable companion. The dog always lingered near her, like a silent guardian. Morning walks with Buddy in the garden, watching the flowers bloom under the dawn light, gradually soothed Isabella's wounded heart. She began to realize that there was another life, a life without conflict and struggle, a life where she could find peace. But the past still lingered. Isabella knew she couldn't hide forever. The Rossi family was in danger, and she needed to return to protect what belonged to her. This time, however, she wouldn't be alone. Beside her was Liam, the man who saved her life, and Buddy, the loyal dog who brought her back from the brink of death. An unexpected love was blossoming between them, a love cultivated from gratitude, understanding, and simple yet invaluable moments. The days spent at Liam's villa were an unexpected spiritual therapy for Isabella. She was accustomed to a fast-paced life, to dry figures, complex algorithms, and the ceaseless pressure from her family. Now, each morning, she awoke not to the ringing of a phone, but to the chirping of birds outside her window, or the gentle nudge of Buddy's head against her hand. Liam didn't pressure her to talk about her past. He simply existed, a quiet and strong presence. He often invited her to enjoy breakfast on the terrace, where they could admire the sparkling Lake Lugano under the early sun. He told her about his adventures, his passion for art and literature, and how he found peace away from the harsh world of technology and finance. "You know, Isabella," Liam said one morning as they sipped hot coffee, "sometimes the most precious things are not what we have, but what we can let go of to find ourselves." Isabella listened in silence. His words touched a deep corner of her soul. She had always been taught that strength lay in control, in holding on to everything. But now, when everything seemed to have slipped through her fingers, she felt a strange liberation. She began spending time reading in Liam's library, discovering classic literary works she previously had no time to enjoy. She sat by the window, gazing at the lush green garden, the blooming flower bushes, and the butterflies fluttering by. One afternoon, Liam led Isabella to a secluded corner of the garden. It was a small, thatched roof house, typical of traditional European architecture, surrounded by blossoming white flowers, like giant cotton clouds. A winding path led to the house, creating a simple and charming scene that was heartbreakingly beautiful. "This is where I often come when I need inspiration," Liam explained, his voice full of affection. "It used to be a potter's house. I kept the original architecture and made a few renovations. Inside, the space was cozy and artistic. Terracotta walls, handmade pottery, and natural light streaming in from large windows created a strangely peaceful feeling. Isabella felt as if all her worries, all her burdens vanished when she stepped into this space. She even tried her hand at molding clay, and Liam patiently guided her. Her fingers, accustomed to a computer keyboard, were now clumsy but passionately engaged with the soft material. Liam also encouraged Isabella to spend time with Buddy. The large but gentle dog became her close companion. In the mornings, they walked together along the lakeside, watching small boats glide across the water. Buddy always knew how to make Isabella smile, by licking her hand or nudging his head against her leg when she sat reading. The dog's innocence and unconditional love helped Isabella gradually break down the defensive wall she had built around herself for so long. Through their conversations, Isabella gradually opened up to Liam. She told him about her harsh childhood, the pressure to be the perfect successor, her father's coldness, and Beatrice's jealousy. She didn't hide Alessandro's betrayal, or the pain of being harmed by those she trusted most. Liam listened patiently, without judgment. He simply held her hand, conveying warmth and peace. "You don't have to be strong all the time, Isabella," he said. "Sometimes, being a little vulnerable isn't a sign of weakness, but the courage to confront your wounds." Liam's words were like a cool spring, watering Isabella's parched soul. She realized that for too long she had lived behind the facade of the world's top underground IT expert, a woman who never showed emotion, always had to be strong and in control. Now, beside Liam, she could be herself, an ordinary woman with fears, wounds, and even simple dreams. One evening, as they were dining outdoors, watching the brilliant sunset paint the entire lake red, Isabella suddenly asked, "Liam, what do you think about revenge?" Liam put down his knife and fork, looking directly into her eyes. "Revenge can bring temporary satisfaction, Isabella, but it's also a burden. It will tie you to the past, to the people who harmed you. True healing isn't about retaliation, but about freeing yourself from hatred and finding peace." "So, what would you do if you were in my shoes?" Isabella asked, her voice full of confusion. Liam smiled gently. "I would seek justice, Isabella, but in my own way, not theirs. I would protect what's important to me and build a future where I can live a full life, unhaunted by the ghosts of the past." Liam's words planted a seed of hope in Isabella's heart. She knew she couldn't hide forever. The Rossi family, despite bringing her much suffering, was still her parents' legacy, and she couldn't let it fall into the hands of greedy individuals. But this time, she would fight not out of hatred, but for truth, for justice, and for a future she deserved to live. The breath of simple life, of nature, and love had begun to heal the scars in Isabella's soul. She felt stronger, not through coldness and rationality, but through peace and compassion. And she knew, no matter how difficult the journey ahead, she would not walk alone. Every morning at Liam's villa, Isabella dedicated time to meditation. She sat in the sun-drenched garden, amidst vibrant yellow flowers and deep purple lavender, listening to birdsong and feeling the cool breeze caress her skin. Where there were yellow vases and a cup of tea on the table, these were moments where she found peace, reorganized her thoughts, and prepared for the challenges ahead. Liam would occasionally bring her a warm cup of herbal tea or a book and sit quietly reading beside her. Despite finding rare peace, Isabella knew she couldn't hide forever. Information from the outside world began to reach her through news channels Liam had secretly set up. She knew the Rossi conglomerate was in chaos. Beatrice and Alessandro were attempting to seize control, but Isabella's absence, coupled with rumors of her mysterious disappearance, had caused a major crisis of confidence. Partners were worried, stock prices plummeted, and the family's reputation was at stake. One afternoon, As Liam was reading in the living room, Isabella walked in. She had changed out of her casual clothes into a more elegant dress, her hair neatly tied up, exuding her familiar determination. "I need to go back," she said, her voice no longer trembling but resolute. "The Rossi family is in danger. I can't let Beatrice and Alessandro destroy everything." Liam looked at her, his eyes unsurprised. He had anticipated this day. "Are you ready, Isabella? This battle won't be easy." "I am ready," she replied. "Thanks to you, I found a strength I didn't think I had. I won't fight out of hatred, but for justice. And I won't go alone." She looked at him, her eyes full of trust. Liam stood up, walked to her side, and gently took her hand. "I'll always be by your side, Isabella. You don't need to worry." He had once been a warrior in the fierce financial world, and he understood the schemes and calculations Isabella would have to face. With his experience and resources, he believed he could help her reclaim what was hers. Before returning, Liam and Isabella spent time planning in detail. Isabella, with her innate IT talent, created a secret tracking and information gathering system for all of Beatrice and Alessandro's activities. She predicted their every move, from shady financial transactions to secret meetings with partners. Liam, with his extensive network and deep knowledge of international law, prepared all necessary legal procedures, ready for a direct confrontation. On the day of her return, there was no fanfare. Liam arranged a private jet to take Isabella to Rome, the headquarters of the Rossi conglomerate. As the plane landed, Isabella felt a slight apprehension, but also full of resolve. Rome, the city of ancient architecture and familiar cobblestone streets, now seemed to have a different aura, both familiar and strange. Liam didn't accompany her into the Rossi mansion immediately. He wanted her to face Beatrice and Alessandro on her own the first time, to catch them off guard. He would remain in the background, ready to assist when needed. Buddy, the loyal Newfoundland dog, was also arranged to stay with Liam, knowing the upcoming stressful environment wouldn't be suitable for him. Isabella stepped into the Rossi mansion, where she had grown up. The space was still grand and imposing as ever, but now she felt a stifling, heavy atmosphere. A few old servants recognized her, their eyes showing clear surprise mixed with joy. News of Isabella's death had spread widely, and her appearance was like a ghost come back to life. When Isabella entered her father's study, Beatrice and Alessandro were sitting there, with smug and powerful expressions. They were reviewing documents, seemingly having completely usurped everything. "Good morning, sister," Isabella said, her voice calm but containing an underlying power. Beatrice and Alessandro startled. They spun around, their faces paling. Fear and astonishment were evident in their eyes. Alessandro was the first to regain his composure, though he stammered slightly. "Isabella, how can this be?" "Surprised, Alessandro." Isabella cut him off, stepping closer. "How can you be happy if I'm not dead yet?" Beatrice, with a pale face, tried to regain her haughty demeanor. You're alive. Where have you been? You know, we were so worried about you." Isabella burst into laughter, a cold, sarcastic laugh. "Worried? Do you dare look me in the eye and say that, Beatrice? Or will you tell me that Push was just an accident?" The atmosphere in the room became suffocatingly tense. Beatrice trembled, looking at Alessandro for help. "Isabella, what are you talking about? Are you hallucinating?" "Hallucinating," Isabella repeated, her eyes sharp. "Then let me remind you. The engagement night, the drugged wine, and the push into the lake. Did you think I would die without knowing who was behind it? The air in the room became stiflingly tense. Beatrice trembled, looking at Alessandro for help. You think I have no evidence? Isabella continued. Every shady transaction, every secret meeting, every recorded conversation, it's all in my hands. I'm not just an IT expert. I'm also someone who can see through every conspiracy. Isabella's words were a strong blow to their complacency. Alessandro tried to retaliate, but his voice had lost its confidence. You have no evidence. It's all just empty words. Is that so? Isabella smirked. She pulled a small USB drive from her pocket and placed it on the table. This is a backup of everything, and the original has been sent to places you can't imagine. If within 24 hours you don't confess and return everything to the Rossi conglomerate, the whole world will know your true faces. Beatrice lunged to snatch the USB drive, but Isabella was quicker. She pulled her hand back, her eyes full of defiance. You have two choices. One is to face the law and public humiliation. Two is to confess and hope for clemency. Think carefully. With that, Isabella turned and walked out of the room, leaving Beatrice and Alessandro in panic and despair. She knew this was just the beginning. The real battle was still ahead. But with the peace she had found and Liam's support, she believed she would win. Stepping out of the mansion, Isabella took a deep breath of Rome's fresh air, feeling freedom and strength rising within her. After the swift confrontation at the Rossi mansion, Isabella knew that Beatrice and Alessandro would not surrender easily. They were cunning and would try everything to fight back, and so they did. The very next morning, numerous tabloids and online news sites began spreading false rumors about Isabella. They painted a picture of Isabella Rossi as mentally unstable, delusional, who had attempted suicide due to work pressure and was now trying to frame her half-sister and former fiancé. Isabella had anticipated this. She didn't bother with the malicious words. Instead, she and Liam began publicly releasing the evidence she had collected. Audio recordings of conversations, exchanged emails, and murky financial transaction documents were gradually revealed to reputable lawyers and honest journalists. Liam, with his influence and credibility, helped Isabella access reliable media channels. He also organized a private press conference with several leading investigative journalists. There, Isabella, with a calm demeanor and clear voice, recounted her entire story, from the assassination attempt to her recovery and determination to reclaim justice. I am not speaking out of hatred, Isabella told reporters, her eyes resolute. I am speaking for the truth, for the honor of the Rossi family, and for all those who have been abused by power and trust. Isabella's story quickly spread. Public opinion was divided. On one side were those who believed the slander, those who were skeptical of her sudden return. On the other side were those, especially women, who sympathized with and supported Isabella, seeing in her the image of a strong woman standing up for herself. The legal battle was intense. Beatrice and Alessandro hired the best lawyers to defend themselves. They tried every way to distort the truth, blaming Isabella. However, with the undeniable evidence Isabella had prepared beforehand, along with strong legal support from Liam, the scales of justice gradually tipped in her favor. Throughout these days, Liam was always by Isabella's side. He was not only legal support, but also a strong emotional anchor. Whenever Isabella felt tired or discouraged, Liam was there to encourage and comfort her. He often took her to the green parks in Rome, where they could stroll under ancient trees, breathe the fresh air, and temporarily forget the pressures of the battle. One time, when Isabella was reading an old book in Liam's library at his Rome villa, as Liam had several homes across Europe, she suddenly noticed a vase of fresh yellow flowers on the table, along with a warm cup of tea. Liam quietly walked in, placing another book beside her. "You seem to enjoy reading these days," he said with a smile. Isabella looked up, her eyes full of gratitude. "Thank you, Liam. You've opened up a new world for me. I never had time to truly live, to truly feel everything before. Life isn't just about numbers and success," Liam replied, sitting in the chair opposite her. "It's also about peaceful moments, genuine relationships, and the ability to find joy in simple things." Liam's words further strengthened Isabella's belief. She realized that whether or not she regained her fortune, the most important thing was that she had found herself again, found peace and a true love. Finally, after months of intense litigation, the court delivered its verdict. Based on clear evidence and Isabella's compelling testimony, Beatrice and Alessandro were convicted of attempted murder and fraud. They faced prison sentences and were stripped of all inheritance rights. The Rossi conglomerate was returned to Isabella, along with a large compensation. News of the verdict shocked the entire upper echelon. Isabella Rossi, who was thought to be dead, had returned and achieved a glorious victory. But instead of boisterous celebration, Isabella chose silence. She didn't want to boast or gloat. She simply wanted everything to return to its proper course. After the case, Isabella decided to undertake a comprehensive restructuring of the Rossi conglomerate. She eliminated corrupt elements, bringing in capable and ethical individuals. She also changed the company's business philosophy, focusing not only on profit, but also on social responsibility and sustainable development. She expanded charitable projects, especially those supporting women in need and environmental protection. And most importantly, Isabella found happiness with Liam. He was not the man she was arranged to marry, but he was the man fate brought to save her life. Their love was not loud or extravagant, but calm and deep, built on trust, understanding, and sharing. One day, Isabella and Liam returned to the villa by Lake Lugano. This place had become a home of healing where their love blossomed. They walked together in the garden, watching the white flowers bloom under the sunset. Buddy, the Newfoundland dog, ran and jumped happily beside them, wagging his tail. "Do you see, Isabella?" Liam said, holding her hand tightly. "Life always has bright dawns after stormy nights." Isabella smiled, leaning her head on his shoulder. "And you are the dawn of my life, Liam. You brought me back from the darkness." Isabella's life was now a harmonious blend of work and joy. She was still a talented female leader, but she was no longer obsessed with power or money. She spent time on nature excursions with Liam and Buddy, enjoying peaceful moments with her small family. She learned to appreciate simple things: a morning watching the sunrise over the lake, an afternoon reading by the window, a cozy dinner with the one she loved. And most importantly, Isabella had learned to love herself, forgive others' mistakes, and live a full life without regret. She had found healing, not by forgetting the past, but by confronting it, overcoming it, and transforming suffering into strength to rise above. She had proven that even in the darkest moments, hope and love always exist, ready to guide us back to the shores of happiness.